Moi guys! Today we are going to set up a new watercolor palette and I will create my new palette with some of the Holbein watercolor that I bought in my recently Japanese trip. So without further ado, let's get started! To set up a new palette, as first thing, you need some empty pan, and I got this half pan in an art shop here in Helsinki, and I got also an empty palette. In particular, I got this 12 full pan empty palette that actually can contain up until 26 half pan, and I got it in the same shop. Now we'll start the most difficult part, choosing the colors to put in my palette. So to choose the color I decided to follow some guidelines. In particular, the most important things for me were, of course, the color and the undertones of the colors. Then to see if the color is opaque, semi-opaque or transparent, then the light fastness of the color, and finally how many pigments are in the color. Since my watercolor set was divided in 8 different sets, I decided to take each one and take off the color that I want to put in my palette. As you can see, I start with primary colors, especially one warm yellow and one cold yellow. Then I proceed with a warm red. Then I put also a cool red. And I decided for a light blue. You will see later change my mind about that. Then I choose other 2 warm blue and 2 cool blue. Then I choose a very dark color for shadows. And I started to choose earthy color after the primaries because I love painting landscapes, so I need a lot of earthy color, and I also choose a white. Then I proceed with greens because I need greens for foliage, so I want to have a lot of greens in my new palette, and as you can see I choose quite a lot of this hue. Then I have few places left, so I add an orangey red and 2 purple, one cool and one warm. And a very dark shade for shadows, and a color that was amazing for color scheme. So now we are good to go. To fill the half pan, I started to squish my tubes inside the half pan till the top of the pan, but I don't fill them completely. Then with the help of a toothpick, I mix the color to try to avoid any bubble inside the color. Then I tap energically on the table and put the color aside. Then I proceed also for others color, and I have here a close-up of the yellow to show you how I did this job. Unfortunately, the technology is against me, and as you can see, it was out of focus, the first part. Then I tap very energically on the table and put it back. Then I fast forward a little bit the process because it was quite boring to see, but I can assure you that was also boring to do. And as you can see here, while I'm doing the job very quick, I try to put already the color as I would like to have them in my palette, just to have an idea how they can fit all together. so here I'm tidy up a little bit and put them in line just to see how they will ended up in my palette. Of course, you don't need all this color to have a good palette, but since I have a lot of space, I decided to go for that. And here we go, I fill all the pan with the colors. Now I start swatching every color on a watercolor paper, and as you can see here I put down the name of the color, the number code, I put the opaque, semi-opaque and transparent symbol, also the light fastness stars, and I put the number of pigment that are in the color. And here the final result after the color drying. Now my favorite part, put all the color inside the palette, and as you can see here I follow my previous decision of put all the yellows, earthy color and reds on the top of my palette. And as you can see I could fit 26 color in total. And I decided on the other hand to put all the greens, the blues and the shadows color with a cool undertone in the bottom line. I have to say that some palette, especially this 12 full pan palette, can contain also more colors in the middle row. Unfortunately, this is not the case in this palette. I couldn't put any more pan, even horizontally, in the middle. So I have to stick with my decision to put the 26 half pan inside. Once finished, I put all the color inside the palette and then I close the lid, but I put the lid just ajar and I put my color to dry out for 3-5 days in a dry, dark place. And that's it, guys, this is my new watercolor palette. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel to don't miss any other content, and see you in the next video. Moi moi!